All right, welcome everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Call this meeting to order. It's 5:30 p.m. Welcome. This is our last meeting fully via Zoom. Starting next week, we will be back in person for those of us on the main campus, which is exciting. I do ask that you guys keep COVID precautions in mind. If you don't mind wearing a mask, I definitely would appreciate it, but of course, I'm not going to require it. We will also be sending out a message about dress code for next week. Of course, now that we're going back in person, it is expected that you guys dress business casual-ish like we've been doing. But for next week in particular, we have some special guests from the city council potentially visiting us. So the requirements for dress code will be a little bit nicer, just because we want to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward with our city guests. So we'll send out more information about that shortly. As we get started, please, if you're able to, turn your camera on. I know there were a couple of you that are unable to, but for the most part, I would request you guys have them on. So I will go ahead and share the agenda. Okay, so Ashlyn will take roll as we go. Approval of the minutes. You should have all received the minutes via email on Friday, which gave you plenty of time to review them. So does anyone have any questions about them before we put it into a vote?
I just wanted to make sure that everybody got them. I set up my list, and I'm pretty sure everybody did. I was just making sure.
If
Okay.
you did not, send a private message to Ashlyn. As our Senate continues to change, we're having to make sure our roster is up to date.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, then in that case, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes for our last meeting.
Carrie.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, Daniel seconded. All in favor of approving last week's minutes, do a thumbs up emoji. Okay. Any opposed, do a different emoji. And any abstentions? Awesome. So the minutes for last week are approved, and we'll get those put on the website. Moving on to open forum. Is anybody here for open forum? Okay. Seeing none, we will move down the agenda to speakers podium. This evening we have Katie Stone. She's the QEP director. You guys may remember her for those of you who were here earlier in the semester. She came to present the preliminary idea for the QEP and what the process is going to be. So now we're getting ever closer to the on-campus visit in March, and she's come back to give us a more finalized version of the plan and allow the Senate to provide any comments on that. So I will turn it over to Katie for her to present. Give her a round of clapping emojis.
Well, not yet, right? Not yet. That's premature. Right. Could I share my screen when you have the opportunity, President Jennings?
Yes.
Yes. So, hi, Casey was so wonderful to introduce me. I'm the quality, I'm the director of the Quality Enhancement Plan, the QEP. And yes, last semester I came in and kind of gave a short overview of the QEP, what our topic was, and then really it was a call to form a committee. And so I just, or an ad hoc committee. And so I would like to formally recognize those committee members who have been so instrumental in helping. So that's Robert, has been amazing. Casey, also not necessarily on the committee, but on the larger steering committee. Justin, Kellen, and Ethan all have been incredible. And so I just want to thank SGA and everyone for your help in with developing the proposal that was sent last Friday. And so I just want to quickly review or set the stage, give some context on where we are in the process, right? So, right, in order to be an institution that's accredited, we have to reaffirm our accreditation every 10 years with our accreditation body. And that's the Southern Association. And a lot of times you'll hear the acronym SACS, COC, right? And so that's what we mean when we say that. That's our larger accrediting body for the Southern colleges and universities, right? And so we, as an institution, UT Tyler, is up for reaffirmation. And so this happens every 10 years. And part of the reaffirmation process is ensuring that we're in compliance with all the rules and policies and whatnot. The other part is the QEP, right? And so in the QEP, we demonstrate what are we doing to improve the quality of our education, right? And so this executive summary is sent, or was sent on Friday, to the committee that will be on campus in March to talk to students, talk to faculty, community stakeholders, and staff about how we've implemented it this far and how we plan to implement it over the next 5 years. Because the QEP, the Quality Enhancement Plan, is a 5-year plan. So I'm just going to are there any questions about where we are in that process right now? Great, I've done due diligence then. Okay, so what you are seeing now is the full QEP document focused on real world problem solving, right? And I just want to share quickly the executive summary. And if you have any questions or want to see the full document, we are all about transparency and accountability. So feel free to ask for that. And then I can send it to Robert and President Jennings, and they can send it out to you all. So again, our on-site visit is March 14th through the 17th. And a primary reason for the on-site visit is to discuss the QEP. And that will happen on the Tuesday, the 15th and 16th, mostly is when we'll be conducting QEP campus-wide conversations. And so, right, our quality enhancement plan, our aim is to develop students' real-world problem solving, right, to meet the needs of our student body as well as the global demands of the 21st century. We are going to use existing resources and programs and curriculum and assignments that we already have, the strengths that are inherent in our institution, to do a few things. One is we're going to create and enhance meaningful classroom assignments and or projects that will enhance your real-world problem-solving skills. And then nurture student development, right, in and also outside the classroom, to have a broader conception of real-world problem solving to prepare you for success beyond our institution, right? Because it's one thing to learn a skill, but we want this to be transferable and to be able to translate outside and beyond your tenure at UT Tyler as a student. Now, this QEP is focused predominantly on undergraduate students. We are including graduate students in some of our assessment plans and data, but it was some feedback provided to us that our QEP did need some focus in order to be attainable, right? If you think about SMART goals, right? A stands for attainable. And so the idea, or the process of identifying this topic, really came from student data and what students said that they needed or they wanted out of their education, or what could be enhanced of their education, right? So that process started in 2016. And the final QEP topic of real-world problem solving resulted from campus-wide conversations and input from students, staff, faculty, alumni, and community members. This was also in alignment with the strategic plan at the time, which if you are familiar with the 4 pillars, a lot of these pillars have integration and alignment with our real-world problem solving focus of the QEP. And so we have 3 goals for this QEP, and I'm hoping that these goals are very easy for you to remember. From a very high level, really our goals are to implement real-world problem solving in the classroom, implement real-world problem solving in co-curricular events and activities that happen across campus, and then also develop faculty so that they can provide the best educational classroom practices surrounding real-world problem solving. So it's really three things, right? I'm just going to reiterate it again. It's incorporating it in the classroom, incorporating it in co-curricular, and then developing faculty, right? And this is the aim is all for student improvement and learning on real-world problem solving. And so to kind of assess this, because assessment and making sure that you're learning, or students are learning what we say you're going to learn, we have identified a rubric that focuses or assesses real-world problem solving. Now, all classes are currently assessed at UT Tyler, right? And they're assessed through a variety of measures, right? Faculty evaluations are one of them that you fill at the end of the year. But then there are also, in the core curriculum, for example, there are rubrics. And so what we are doing is we are using current structures in place to continue this assessment. So we're enhancing what we're already doing at UT Tyler because we know it works for us. And so we've identified a rubric, and then these are the learning outcomes associated with this rubric to assess, right? And we really wanted this assessment to be about the process of problem solving, not the end product. And so when you think about when you as a student tackle a problem or try to solve a problem, there are probably certain steps in that cycle for you to solve that problem. So one, you need to define the problem in order to solve it, right? That kind of makes sense. And so that's our learning outcome one. Define, students should be able to construct a clearly defined problem. Learning outcome two, right? When we solve problems, there are so many different ways to do that. And knowing how to find the different ways and how to evaluate the different ways is really kind of critical, right? And so that's our learning outcome too, that you'll be able to compare multiple approaches to addressing said problem. And then learning outcomes 3 and 4 are really combined in terms of you are proposing and or evaluating potential solutions or hypotheses regarding your real world problem solving. And then learning outcomes 5 and 6 are also aligned in that there's the implementation process, but also the evaluation process. You know, did it meet your expectations, or what would you have done differently, or what could you do even more? And so those are our learning outcomes. And then again, we will assess using a faculty scoring panel where grad students are also invited to participate. We did a trial run, you could say, of this using the rubric, and they identified learning outcomes in the fall. And that provided an initial baseline for us in order to predict and, you know, push our learning efforts even further. And so that, in a nutshell, is the QEP and what we've proposed. Given that they will want to meet with students during the on-site visit, what questions can I answer for you at this point?
I have a question.
Yes.
When you first began to talk, you talked about the accreditations of their, you said SEC?
SAC.
SAC.
Mm-hmm.
Is that accreditation for the whole University of Texas at Tyler, or an individual college within University of Texas at Tyler? Yeah,
great question. Yes, it is for the institution as a whole.
So
but you are right.
What's the difference between, I'm kind of confused because under our engineering college is ABET accredited. So can you tell me about the difference between that accreditation and ours?
Yeah, so SAC's accreditation deals with, I would say, like higher levels of learning and compliance, right? Talking about, are faculty qualified? Are we good financial stewards? Those types of things. ABET or ASCB, which is in college, or there are education ones, or there are music ones, deal specifically with the education outcomes within specific disciplines.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a really good thing for the college to be accredited as a whole, but then also for individual disciplines to be accredited.
So Katie, I know we're using a lot of capstone projects, papers, what have you, through our courses as indicators of student growth.
Mhm.
Is that going to be like numerical data, or are we going to keep copies of things as a comparison qualitatively?
Great question. So in terms of the rubric gives us quantitative data. And I actually will showcase the rubric right now because I think that's kind of cool for you all to see. So this is the rubric. You see on the left-hand side are all the learning outcomes. And then there are different kind of performance descriptors, right? Within each column, like accomplished, this is what accomplished looks like. This is what competent looks like. This is what developing looks like. This is what minimal looks like. And so from there, we do have a numerical score between 1 and 3. Right, but my hope is that we will also include some so this is a direct assessment, is what we call direct assessment. It's directly assessing the learning and the outcome. But we also hope to do some indirect assessment that will happen through the exit graduation survey that every graduate student completes. And maybe Casey, you've already completed, but it will ask you questions about, you know, what was your experience in your QEP class on real world problem solving? Do you feel like you solved a problem? Kind of those qualitative types of things. And then I also hope to, in the maybe year 3 or 4 of the plan, to include some reflection within these specific courses. And that's up to the faculty members and the students to complete. But I feel like that would be another great way for us to truly understand students learning through that process.
Yes, I definitely agree. And for those who don't know, would you mind going over, I don't know if you already touched on it, who will be comparing these capstone course projects to this rubric?
Yeah, so we're calling this a faculty scoring panel, and all of your core classes are assessed, and learning in those core classes are assessed using a similar rubric. Well, using a rubric, I wouldn't say similar rubric, right? But based off of, maybe it's a communication course, and so you're assessed on oral communication, or it's a critical thinking course, and so you're assessed on critical thinking. But faculty from across the institution will assess this, and everything's redacted, right? So they never know who it is, and we're only doing 20% of artifacts because to do all of them would just be an immense workload for people on the scoring panel. So it'll be faculty, it will be assessment coordinators for every college, and then we'll also open this up to graduate students who would like to participate. And then everyone goes through a training prior to scoring so that we understand the rubric, we understand the intention behind it. It is not grading. There's no grade associated with it. All we are doing is we are assessing and trying to understand, is there evidence of problem solving within this document that we see?
Thank you. Does anyone else have questions for Katie?
I've heard that maybe many people would like the final draft of the QEP document, and I'm happy to send that out. I'll send that out to you, Casey and Robert, the most updated draft.
Yes, if you'll send it to me, we can include it in our weekly update email to the senators. Awesome. All right. Well, Katie has been working and will continue to work extremely hard on this. Anybody who's been in the room with her in this process can attest to the fact that she is extremely dedicated to it. So if we can all just give her a round of Zoom applause, it's well deserved.
Okay, well, thank you all. I really hope that this is that you see this as an exciting thing, because to me, what we hope is that students will be able to leave UT Tyler with a demonstrated project that they can point to in interviews, on the resume and cover letters about how they solved a problem that is relatable to the real world, right? This is all about your success and all about your learning. And I truly hope that that came across in my presentation and in this document. And if it did, that's my fault and I'm sorry, but hopefully that did come across, that this will make your experience at UT Tyler better and will make you a more competitive candidate outside.
Yes, yeah. All right. Are there any, I know you mentioned the on-site visit, are there any opportunities that you have for us to be of assistance in that week or prior to that week?
Yes, we are just waiting to hear back from the committee on who they want to meet with.
Okay.
And then from there, we will be reaching out to people based off of that.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you so much, Katie.
Thank you all. Have a great rest of your meeting and stay warm. Thursday, stay warm.
All right. Moving on down the agenda. Next up is officer reports, so I'll go ahead and go. This week is going to be very busy. I have lots of meetings. I'm meeting with the president tomorrow. I'm also meeting with Angie Copeland. Really excited about the opportunity to introduce myself and get to hear what's going on in nursing advising. I'm also meeting with the new marketing vice president, and that will be a good preface to the conversation about the athletic mark, which we all knew was coming and will be here soon. So keep that on your radar. Moving on down the line, Vice President Smith.
Sorry, my space bar wasn't working. So this week is busy for me as well. Today I met on the Student Union Advisory Council, and Don was there. Robert was supposed to be there, but we all know what happened to him. So I did that today, and then tomorrow I will actually be sitting in on the QEP steering committee, which is what we just discussed, which is kind of cool. And then on top of that, I'll be meeting with Vice President Ona Tolliver tomorrow to discuss edits and changes to the strategic planning committee's presentation, which will be presented to us hopefully February 15th. And that should be an interesting conversation as well.
Thank you. Secretary Mattern.
Hi. I've been sick this week, so I haven't done too much. I did send out the minutes early. I hope you guys are proud of me for that one. The website has been updated. We'll be making a post. Communications met yesterday. And I think that's about it.
Awesome. Feel better. Treasurer Lundberg.
I met with SGAC last week, and we finally got a settled time for Thursdays at 5:30 p.m. So excited about that. So we got about 4 organizations that's going to be here this Thursday for our meeting. So we're going to get them through. Well, it's actually 3 organizations, but one person submitted 2 requests, so she was a part of 2 organizations at the same time. So yeah, and then we got another one I just checked. So I'm excited about that as well. On the plus side, I'm not sure if you I didn't see it on the minutes or the schedule that you want me to present the proposal.
For the budget?
But the budget proposal for this semester.
If you're ready to do it, then you can definitely bring it up in new business, but I had that slotted for next week.
Okay, that's fine. I can do it next week. That's what I was planning to do.
Yeah, we'll use that meeting on Thursday to make sure it's ready to go. That way we have less questions when it's presented to the Senate. Okay, and then Chief of Staff Bennett.
So as a lot of you know, I've kind of had a roller coaster of a week. So earlier today, I got to meet with Casey and Landry and really punch out the dates that we came up with for the upcoming election. We sent it on to Josh and we'll get final approval, and then we'll come back to y'all with the dates that have been decided for the election. And I'll leave the rest of my report for committee.
Fantastic. Moving on to committee reports, events.
Stupid spacebar won't work, whatever. So we met just before this meeting, and we actually have a lot that's going on. So I contacted the HBC, and we are gonna co-sponsor a yoga event, which I think will be kind of cool. We'll hopefully do that on like a Saturday, actually. That way it won't interfere with classes, and we'll have a table out, hopefully with donuts and a coffee bar. So that should be kind of cool. Y'all might hate me for this, but it is a required event. So guess y'all should all be excited to come do yoga with me. But and then it's not definite at all, but it's in the works right now of potentially doing a tailgate for one of the men's and women's basketball game. And Adon suggested partnering with Patriot Productions, which I think would be a great idea for that. And then in addition to that, the Path House community service event will be taking place Saturday, February 12th. And I just texted Todd and he said we're good to go on that. So
Is that from 10 to 1 as well?
yes.
On February 12th.
Okay, it's me, right?
Yes, communications.
We met yesterday. We actually talked to Landry. Everybody was talking to him about for the tailgate event. We want to put out a poll to see what people would want, what food would people want there. I guess we would need to discuss amongst ourselves what we want first, and then take a poll and see what they would want. So we'll get that posted whenever we figure out when the tailgate will be. I think you said in the middle of February, didn't you? Like the 19th or something.
The 17th or the 19th.
Yeah, those should be both two dates for home games.
Yeah, so we can definitely advertise for that and the yoga. That's actually really exciting. Thank you for doing that. So, how early is that going to be though?
That was a topic of debate. Probably like 9 or 10. I was kind of thinking maybe like sunrise, but that would be kind of ridiculous, and I don't feel like dragging everybody out of bed at like 7 in the morning. So
Would not be a happy camper. I will state that.
yeah.
We're gonna do it on my birthday, so you guys have no excuse but to show up. No excuse not to
We'll
show
pull an
up.
all-nighter for her birthday. Yes. But that's really exciting. So we'll definitely get a post out for that as well. And that's it. Oh, and everybody was in attendance. I was super happy. All my people were there. So thank you.
Good. Okay, SGAC.
I think I already gave my little speech, but once again, we met last week and we got a scheduled time for 5:30 p.m. So I'm looking forward to that for this Thursday.
Awesome. And just to reiterate, that is one of our most important committees because we have to vote on things. So if you're available Thursdays at 5:30, we definitely would appreciate any attendance that we can get. Okay, rules.
So we met last night, and so we really started off, and everyone came up with some really good ideas on what they'd wish to see changed here with not only the Constitution, but SGA. We'll be going over that next week as well. And it was a really great time. Really enjoyed it, you guys. You really hit it out of the ballpark.
Awesome. And then the Environmental Sustainability Committee, of course, we will be talking about finding a chair for that shortly. So moving on to student voice reports. First up, we have the College of Engineering.
Nothing to report on my end just yet.
Okay. And then Adalia.
I have a meeting with the dean of College of Engineering, Dr. Javier, Thursday. So we'll see what goes with that, and I'll report more next time.
That's great. Yeah, we'll definitely want to hear about that next week. So even though it won't be your turn, still definitely bring that up during the end of student voice reports. Okay, Adalia.
Nothing to report at this moment.
Okay. And then Justin.
Yeah, so the only thing I have to report is we did have a College of Engineering career fair at main campus, and we did have a couple of students from HDC drive down and attend that career fair. I got reports from them. They said that it went really well. They were able to meet with a lot of employers. Mark Stark was really impressed that they drove all the way down there and they were dressed appropriately. So good remarks from Stark, which was great. But other than that, I believe next week HEC is going back to in person, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that's great to hear. We'll definitely want updates on that. And then Omar messaged me his report. He said that he was thrilled to hear Houston students had a positive experience during the main campus career fair. Some have already received calls from potential employers and have interviews scheduled. And then he said best of luck to them. So sounds like quite a few students participated, which is great to hear that those opportunities are being shared. So we will move on down the agenda to old business. Does anyone have anything that they need to bring back up, reopen, etc.? Okay. Then we will move along to new business. First up on the docket is the ESC chair discussion. So I would like to entertain a motion to discuss appointing a new chair for the Environmental Sustainability Committee.
Carrie said motion.
Seconded.
Goodness. Okay. So we only received one nomination for the Environmental Sustainability Chair position, and that was for Macy Kirkby. She is a senator for the College of Pharmacy, and so I will give her an opportunity to speak about why she wants to be the Environmental Sustainability Chair, as well as what she hopes to accomplish with the committee this semester, and then we will vote on whether to approve her or not, okay? All right, then Macy, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Hey everyone. Thank you for your time. So I want to run for the ESC chair for several reasons. I'll go over those in a second, but I looked over the stuff that David did last year with the recycling, and I thought it was a really good idea. So I kind of want to pick that back up and also go into more of the food wastage situation. One of my main goals is I want to do work on transportation. So maybe do like bike rentals or limes or bird scooters, because we had those at Tech and it really helped. And maybe additional bus routes as well. Regarding like previous experience, I did picking up trash along the highways and other service events. I also worked with the complex council, and we made the water bottle friendly fountains, like where you can refill them and stuff. So that's kind of like my experience with that. But yeah.
Does anybody have questions for Macy, especially if you're a member of the ESC?
Would you be able to are you gonna make a new time and everything for everyone to meet?
Yeah, I'll definitely work on new time on scheduling, see when everyone's available and kind of work something out there.
Do you think it'll be hard whenever you go back in person with pharmacy school and stuff?
I don't think so. I think I get off at a good time and I have a break from 12 to 2 during the day. So it's not, I mean, it's a lot of school, but I definitely have free time to take this up.
Yeah.
I had a question.
Okay.
I was just wondering, so with, I guess, any new plans for the committee, how would you incorporate that into other campuses?
So I would definitely meet with the higher ups and other committees and kind of work out a plan, the pros and cons, the cost and everything, and work something out so it can help the environment.
Yeah. A lot of the ideas out of the Environmental Sustainability Committee have come from members of our Houston campus. So we definitely want to make sure that all of the sustainability initiatives that we're working on benefit them as well. Okay. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, then just so we can vote, I'm going to put you in a waiting room. I don't think we technically have to, but
Okay.
and then we will let you back in just a moment. Okay. Any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
I just know that we need a chair for that committee, and I think she seemed really interested in it.
Yes, I definitely think it's important that our Houston senators continue to work with that committee, because that one in particular, as well as events, we want to make sure that we're trying our best to make things happen on our distance campus as well.
Yeah, I'm still going to be a part of the committee, so I'll work hand in hand with her.
Good. Anybody else have thoughts, questions, comments?
I thought she had a lot of great ideas for her committee, which makes her a great candidate.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
I think it's really great that she's wanting to stand up for the committee assignment. She's one of the newest senators, and it really shows character.
Very true. Okay. She's really, since she joined as a senator, she's been very intentional and involved. So I think the fact that she's in SGA at all as a pharmacy student is really impressive. All right. Seeing no other comments, I'd like to entertain a motion to vote to approve Macy Kirkby as the new chair of the Environmental Sustainability Committee.
Carrie said motion.
Seconded.
Okay, I'm making a poll. Okay.
Casey, it said that the poll was closed before I submitted.
Yeah,
And that's my fault.
Come on
That's
now.
my bad. Sorry.
y'all will have to vote again. I apologize because I relaunched it. Okay. All right. We have approved Macy to chair the Environmental Sustainability Committee, so I will let her back in and we'll give her a round of Zoom applause. You know, it's my favorite. 3, 2, 1, go. Woo! Awesome. Okay. Congratulations to our new chair of the Environmental Sustainability Committee, Macy. We're glad to have you, and Landry will be reaching out to you about making sure your committee's on track and that you have everything you need. There's not a swear-in for a chair position, so you just get a hearty congratulations. But we are glad to have you in this role.
Thank you.
All right, I'd like to entertain a motion to close discussion on this topic.
Carrie said motion.
Seconded.
Okay, moving down the agenda, next up I have the advising task force discussion. I'd like to entertain a motion to discuss the advising task force.
Carried said motion.
Seconded.
Okay, I just wanted to give you guys a follow-up on the advising task force that we had this past week. There's one representative from every college on that committee with Ashley Bill, and I thought that it was very productive. She asked a lot of good questions, and she asked that we come to you guys with a proposed model and see what you guys thought about it. So is Brandon on? Okay.
Yes, I'm on.
Do you want to kind of explain the 3 meeting idea, since that was sort of your suggestion?
Yeah, I can explain that one.
Okay.
So at least in my rationality of it is that whenever classes start, like classes open, it's typically right now when students, for the most part, meet their advisor pretty much the only time that semester for most students. So it kind of creates like a bottleneck to where everyone's trying to contact their advisor and no one can really get a hold of them. So we proposed like an idea of meeting them 3 separate times throughout a semester. And so that way, and it's not going to be like a required thing, but more a recommendation that there'll be 3 separate times, once at the beginning of the semester, once kind of midterm area, like throughout the semester, and then once at the end of the semester. So that way, whenever classes open up, like at the end of the semester, you can go in, get your classes and everything. But the main part is that you would be able to have an extended meeting throughout the semester, like in the mid part. And that's where you can talk to your advisor about like potential, like either career opportunities or like, that's where you can talk to them about planning out your semester. So historically, like, there are classes that will be open every fall and spring, maybe not for every major, but they can kind of chart out different like different courses that you can take on the off chance that they are open. And so say they aren't open, like those classes don't open, then you can meet them again near the end, but then less students will have to because they'll already know which courses they want to take. And then for the beginning of the semester is like there are students who can't really enroll at the end of the semester. So that's for like those students as well, like to get into those courses that they couldn't at the start. And so it incentivizes students to kind of meet with their advisor throughout the semester and not bottleneck it to where no one can really meet with their advisor.
Yeah. And part of the goal with this is to provide the advisors more time with each student as well. One thing that we are talking about is the fact that there's sort of a lack of a personal connection with the advisor for the most part. Some students have that, but you know, I wish that my advisor was asking me, hey, you know, how's prep for law school going? Have you considered taking this class that might be really helpful for you when you get to law school, you know, things like that. So having that longer meeting, like Brandon mentioned, in the middle of the semester would give them that opportunity to provide sort of that role rather than the here your classes goodbye. So what are y'all's thoughts?
I actually used to work at the advising office at my old college, and I had a good connection with all the advisors because I would meet with them in the middle of the semester just to discuss plans, and they helped me out a lot with college. But I felt like that was more personal. But I feel like it's more recommended for students that they would know how much it would actually help them, because there were a lot of resources available to me that I wouldn't have had if I didn't meet with them as often.
Yeah, that's really good feedback. Thank you. I guess let me ask, is that something that you guys look for in an advisor? Do you expect them to sort of just hand you your classes and send you on your way? Or are for me, my idea would be that they are a little bit more connected and remember things about me and what have you. Is that something that you guys feel like students typically want, or do we just want people to select our classes?
I think what helped me a lot was my advisor made a degree plan for me. I don't know if they all do that, but I was able to just like follow that degree plan up until I like applied for nursing school. And it's different for every college because I really needed my counselor when I was applying for nursing school and I wasn't able to reach her. But other than that, I liked having the degree plan. I liked being able to choose my own classes.
Daniel?
So I've been here for 3 years. I've had 4 advisors. So in the totality of it, with such a large turnover in advisors, with them trying to make personal connections, I understand where that's like the idea of that's coming from. A suggestion that I would make would be find a mentor on the faculty side, and sit down. So like I worked with Dr. Snyder pretty relevantly. We met weekly. So find somebody like that to have more of that personalized connection with, and then they can also help you out with that advising side. But then I also had a follow-up question on the like the structure of the enrollment side. Is with the current enrollment structure, it pretty much forces you to have a bottleneck. So would we be modifying or requesting the university to modify the enrollment structure where everybody can enroll on a very specific date and everybody tries to meet their advisor before that date? Or would we be asking them to do away with that? That way we don't end up with a bottleneck. I understand the 3 meeting structure, but I still foresee a 3 portion bottleneck rather than a 1 portion bottleneck.
I think the goal is emphasizing, we've talked about prior working in the one stop, how it would be nice if more students met their advisor earlier in the semester and at least had a plan for what they were going to enroll in. I don't think that we would anticipate any earlier enrollment, more so just encouraging students to meet with their advisors sooner rather than later and just be prepared ahead of time, if that makes sense. Ashlyn?
Okay, so when I came to college, it was when COVID first hit, and so I never actually met my advisor. The first time I'd ever talked to him was over the phone, and we never had like a personal relationship or anything like that. But he would let me know what I needed to take and everything like that. Some people liked him, some people didn't. I've never had a problem with not having a personal relationship with them because I know how crazy their job is. And I think that it's hard sometimes for them to sit down when they have this many students and try to figure out a thing with each and every single one of them. I don't know if it would be possible for them to become super personable with us or not, just because of how much work they have to do. And we're already at a shortage with advisors anyway. So I don't know. I've never had a personal relationship with an advisor. I don't even know who my advisor is right now. But I mean, they get their job done with me, just like telling me my classes and everything. So
Sure. Tina?
Maybe we could do something like, in order to prevent it from bottlenecking as much, like sending an email out to the students saying, hey, like have a group of students like every couple of weeks. I'm not sure how efficient that would be, but just send an email saying, hey, we recommend you meet with an advisor. And also if we could maybe have like enrollment open earlier for current students and then newer students to the campus. It could be open later. So maybe like they would be dealing with the current students a little bit earlier and then the newer students kind of a little bit later.
Yeah. Chloe?
I kind of just wanted to talk about a little bit what Valerie and Daniel said. So I do like having an advisor that gives me my degree plan and tells me like what classes I have that are options for like fulfilling my requirements. But it is also nice for the advisors to know like those specific classes, like what they entail. And that's where Daniel's suggestion kind of came in, meeting with that faculty member or, you know, sort of advisor person that you've connected with there, because they know the departments and they know like what classes are which. And if they're a teacher you've had before, they can help you know where you'll fit in best. But I do think it's so important to do the 3 meetings with the actual advisors, because then that's where you get that personal relationship of their help knowing what to do after college. Like you said, Casey, you really would wish your advisor would ask you how law school applications are going and stuff like that, because they probably would know more about that than what each individual class in the college is and how the professor is and how you might fit in there.
Mm-hmm. Adon, you're next.
I first want to say that I think it's very interesting that people really want to develop a very interpersonal relationship with their advisor. I think it's a cool idea. Being a business student, our advisors are super busy and are usually really not available for us to speak to. However, last spring they did group advising, which I thought went fantastic. They got a group of, I think, 30 to 40 of us, split us off into our majors and just said, and handed us your degree plan, and they said, pick what classes work for you. If you have any questions, we're going to be here to help answer them for you. I thought that worked fantastically. And for like getting yourself set up for the future and having somebody on campus, there's a mentorship program here on campus that is ran through new student family programs. You don't have to be a freshman to sign up for it. You can email orientation@utcollege.edu if you're interested for that. And for the future, I think you should contact your career success coach. There are already departments made for that, because that's what they're here for. They're trying to make sure you're successful outside of college, you know, once you're out of here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Brennan?
All right, so I've already gotten like 2 emails saying like I have different advisors than I did when I originally came into UT Tyler, and I'm a freshman. So I feel like one like thing we could do is like kind of like meet the senators, but let's like meet the advisors, if that makes any sense. And it's just like you go through and meet everyone who like fits under that major, and if you meet like your advisor.
That's a good idea. Andrew?
Like everybody's kind of reiterating this, I think, but in case this isn't what people were thinking, then I'll say it. But I like all of these ideas. I don't see why we have to choose one over the other necessarily. Like I think the proposed like meeting earlier in the semester, perhaps rather than later in the semester, like right when classes open. I feel like that's a great idea, as well as developing a relationship with your advisor, and then furthermore, especially whenever you get into your higher ed, like your higher senior level classes, whenever you have a relationship with a professor or faculty member to help you decide like what classes you need to be taking if you want to like specialize in a certain area. Like I know I'm a history major, so it's not going to apply for everybody, but like if I wanted to study more on European history, there's obviously going to be some classes that are better to take than others. And it's nice having a professor that's going to tell me like this is what they go over in this class, because sometimes for at least for my degree it's not quite clear like what it is you're actually studying until you get into the class. And so I don't see why we would have to, and I don't think anybody's thinking this, but I don't see why we would have to have one idea, not the others.
Oh, thank you. Any other thoughts on this? Great. That is really good feedback. And so I and the rest of the advising task force will take this back to Ashley and continue working towards a solution. So I'd like to entertain a motion to close discussion on this topic.
Harry said motion.
Seconded.
Okay. It's like, wow, y'all really want to keep talking about this. Okay, moving on down to the third point on new business. I'd like to entertain a motion to discuss elections.
Motion.
Seconded.
Okay. So as Robert briefly mentioned, we are working on finalizing dates for the elections. It's going to be a combined election, which means that the student body will elect the e-board and the Senate simultaneously. We have done them separately in the past, but this will be a lot easier. So as current senators, most of you, except for some of our really new people, are eligible to run for the executive board positions, and you can also run for any senator positions that you're eligible for. For example, if you live in Liberty Landing and you're a College of Arts and Sciences student, you can run for student body at large, Liberty, and College of Arts and Sciences. So that's kind of how that works. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up in discussion is partially to let you guys know that that's coming up, and so you can have it on your radar, but also to ask a question about after elections, or even prior. So one thing I'm thinking about doing is offering opportunities for you guys to sort of see what it's like to be on executive board. Haven't quite decided if this would be prior to the election or after. And I'm hesitant about doing shadowing with the actual current members just because that could look like favoritism pretty quickly. But I would definitely be willing to offer opportunities for you guys to come meet with me. And as the president, I'm aware of what the other 4 executive board members do on a daily basis. So I would be glad to set up meetings with you guys if you are interested and go over that. So I guess I'm just trying to ask if that's something that you guys would be interested in.
I think so. I think it'd be a very good opportunity to like really gauge to see if this is something that you want to continue to further put time in and invest in. You know, even you could go to these and realize like, oh, this is really isn't for me, or you could find out whether or not like, oh, this is for me, kind of thing. I think it'd be a good opportunity for everybody who's interested.
And is that something that you guys think would be helpful prior to signups and everything for the election? Okay. Then I'll create some sort of sign up sheet. And like I said, it'll just be with me, you know, the most boring of the board members. I'm just kidding. But I'll set up some times for you guys to be able to come in. My door's always open. But I'll set up some time for you guys to be able to come in, tell me what you're interested in, and it'll be confidential. If you don't want people to know what you're thinking about running for, I would be glad to keep that private. So everybody cool with that? Awesome. I'll send out a sign up through the group me for those of you who are interested. Okay. Any questions on elections? Okay. Just a reminder for those of you who don't know, all of you will be up for re-election for next year. So even if you just got sworn into a spot, you still will have to run in March in order to be a senator for the fall again. So with that being said, I'd like to entertain a motion to close discussion on this topic.
Reset motion.
A second.
Okay. Does anyone have anything to add to new business? Seeing none. Next up is advisor comments, but Josh is not here. So in the spirit of Joshua Neves, everybody's doing great. And this meeting was really productive. And I look forward to seeing you all in person next week. Did that sound like Josh? Awesome. All right, great. I did my best. Okay, so for announcements, I do have a few announcements. First up is Family Day is coming up on February 19th. I know I sent a message out in the chat about it. There's a variety of events that are going on. It's free for students, and if you bring a family member, it's $25 for adults, $15 for children. That's because there are food and shirts involved. There are also opportunities if you are attending or if you weren't planning to attend to volunteer at any of these events. And especially if you volunteer for the service projects, you can get service hours for that. So if you're interested in volunteering, just let me know and I can get you the contact information for the person that you need to reach out to. I'm going to be volunteering to set up for the brunch and for the indoor service project. So just so you guys know. And then the other announcement is next week's meeting will be in person. Where is it going to be? In person. Back in our old home, COB 103. It's going to be great to see you guys. We've missed a lot of birthdays, so expect cupcakes because, man, do we have to catch up. And Jacqueline, I need to know an option for you because your birthday has been recently too. So if you want to text me something that you'd like. So we'll catch up on birthdays. And like I said, it's looking like we're going to have some city council members present. So we'll text you guys shortly about dress code for that. And then as far as senator reports, it'll be College of Nursing and Health Sciences, O-Hall, Victory Village, University Pines, and Liberty Landing. So nursing and housing. Everybody clear on that? Awesome. Does anyone have any additional announcements?
I don't have an announcement, but I have a question. Will the meetings continue to be held on Zoom as well for being in person?
Yes, that's a great question. Our meetings are always held simultaneously by Zoom and in person because we do have distance campus senators. I know you and I had already discussed about you attending mostly via Zoom, and that's fine. Yes, that will continue to be an option.
Okay, thank you.
So unless you are Keena or you live in Houston, the expectation is that you will be back in person next week. If you have a reason that you need to continue to be by Zoom, reach out to me individually and we can discuss that, okay? Oh, well, obviously also Ethan, he's in DC. We don't expect you to fly back. Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Great, then I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Carrie said motion.
Seconded.
All in favor, give me your favorite emoji.
Seconded.
Oh, a lot of thumbs up, interesting. All opposed? Thumbs down. Any abstentions? Oh, Brendan wants to stay. All right. Meeting adjourned at 6:33 p.m. You guys have a great week. Stay out of trouble.
Bye.